Hello and welcome to a demonstration of a server migration into Microsoft Azure. Today we're going to be demonstrating a migration of a Hyper-V virtual machine which is running Windows 2008 R2, and we are going to be using double-take move software from Vision Solutions for the migration. So the first thing I'm going to do here is log into my source, this machine that I want to migrate into Microsoft Azure, and it is a Windows 2008 R2 virtual machine running on a Hyper-V host I have in my test environment. And now I'm going to go ahead and open up a connection, an RDP session, to a virtual machine that I have running in Microsoft Azure called DT Target 1, and I'm going to actually RDP by the internal IP address rather than the external because I have a VPN set up between my test network and the virtual network that I configured in Azure, so I can connect via the internal IP address. So we've got that up, so both machines are up and running. So the next thing I'm going to do is open up the double-take console, and I'm going to add the server that I have running up in Microsoft Azure into the double-take console. I'm going to just provide credentials for it. And then once it is added, we will go ahead and do a remote install of double-take move, the double-take move agent, onto that target machine. I'm going to just provide it with the necessary activation code here. I have already installed double-take move and put an activation code on the dpbear96, the server that we will be migrating. So just waiting for that install to finish here. And although we're using a Hyper-V virtual machine for the source in this demo, that source machine could be any physical or virtual machine. It would use the same process that we're going to demonstrate here. Okay, so that's installed, so I'm going to go ahead and click Get Started and select double-take move as the software I want to use. And then I'm going to select dpbear96 as my source. I'm going to do a full server migration, which is just going to bring over the entire system state and everything on the server. Select DT Target 1 as my target. And now it is just pulling those servers for some configuration information. So importantly here, what we want to do is make sure that we retain the target network configuration, because we are going across subnets. We don't want to override the target network configuration with that of the source machine. And then we're going to enable compression because we are going across a WAN, and then I'm going to be nice to my network administrator here and put in a bandwidth limit for what double-take move is going to use, and I'm going to put that just under about 5 megabits per second. And now it is just validating the configuration of the two servers to make sure everything checks out. I've got all green check marks, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish that, and then the job will be created so we can view that from the double-take console. And the first thing it's going to do is do an initial synchronization of the data. So this is basically creating an exact copy of the data between the source machine and the target machine. And I've got this sped up a little bit for the demo purposes, but it's also doing real-time replication at the same time. So what I'm going to do here is go into my source machine and just update this little hello world file I have here on the desktop, and you'll be able to see later that after we do the migration cutover, this file will exist on the desktop of the machine that we're migrating to, even though it does not now. So I'm just making some updates to that just to demonstrate that the real-time replication is in fact going, even though we're still doing the initial synchronization. And it will continue going after the initial synchronization, and I'll make another update here in a moment. So it's just about done. Once the activity for the synchronization goes to idle, it will still be replicating in real time, but we'll also be ready to do the migration cutover. So that's where we're at now. I'm sorry, the activity went to protecting, not idle. I think that was from our old console where I got the idle. Alright, so I'm just updating that file now, and it is ready to cut over. So I am putting that into the file, and now we're actually going to do the cutover. So I select the job in the console, select cutover, and now I'm going to just click cut over there. I didn't have any options for snapshots there because I didn't use that for this migration. So first thing it does is actually shut down the source server to make sure that that server is offline before it does the cutover to the target server. So that's shutting down. Okay, now that that's shut down, we can see that the rest of the failover is in progress, and that failover process is really merging the system states between the source server and the target server. So it is effectively overwriting the system state of the target server with that of the source. So that target server is going to look identical to that source machine. I guess this is sped up a little bit for demo purposes, but it does take several minutes to merge the system states together. So we'll just wait for that to complete. As I said before, you would use this exact same process whether that source server was a physical server or a virtual machine on another hypervisor platform. Okay, it's just about done. So now I didn't click on it fast enough over there, but that the target machine had a message that it was getting ready to shut down. It's actually rebooting now that the system states have been merged. So now that it's rebooted, we're going to go ahead and reconnect with our RDP session into that target server up in Azure. And once we do that, you'll be able to see that it now looks identical to the original source server. And there's our hello world file over there on the left, and you can see here under some of these server properties that the IP address has been retained, and that it has the host name of the source server because we brought over the entire rest of the system state other than the network configuration. So I'm just going to go ahead and update this file again, but that really is the end of the migration process, and thank you for attending the demo.